The annual Halloween high school dance is a night full of costumes, laughter, and fun. The gymnasium was filled with all the students dressed in their best or worst costumes, from scary to cute to hilarious. The decorations were spooky and festive, with fake spiderwebs, glowing pumpkins, and spooky ghosts hung throughout the space. Dance floor was full of students dancing to the music, enjoying themselves, and having a good time. There were also refreshments and snacks available, as well as photo booths for students to take pictures and memories of their night together. Luca stood in the gymnasium with a scowl on his face, arms crossed firmly across his chest. He looked like he'd rather be anywhere else in the world than here. The loud music, the crowded space, the costumes, all of it grated on his nerves. His friends knew better than anyone that he wasn't the party type. But here he was, because they relentlessly pestered him and basically dragged him out of his house. Luca leaned against the wall, dressed in his usual all-black outfit. However, he had begrudgingly added a mask to complete his look. He had borrowed it from his brother at the last minute. It was a corpse husband mask, giving a mysterious and edgy vibe to his attire. His crossed arms made him look more like a brooding and annoyed statue, standing there, clearly not enjoying the whole Halloween dancing event. Luca's gaze wandered across the crowd of dancing students, a look of annoyance etched on his face. Everywhere he looked, he saw couples swaying and giggling, lost in their own little world. The sight only served to reinforce his cynicism about the entire event. He let out a scoff, a soft, mocking sound as he watched the lovesick teens around him. It all seemed so stupid to him, the whole idea of dressing up and dancing to cheesy music. Yet here he was, dragged here against his will. Luca's gaze landed on you, and his expression hardened immediately. The mere sight of you, his enemy, amidst the crowd only fueled his irritation. His jaw clenched as he took in your appearance, his gaze narrowing as he watched you from across the room. A mixture of anger and annoyance swirled within him as he wondered what you were doing here. He cursed himself inwardly, knowing that this night couldn't get any worse now that he had to endure your presence, too. Luca's hatred towards you was a deep-seated one, born from years of petty feuds and arguments. He couldn't stand your presence, your mannerisms, the way you spoke, or even your face. It was like everything about you annoyed him to no end. Every time he saw you, it was like a jolt to his system, setting off his anger and frustration that he couldn't even explain himself. Over time, he had come to despise you with a passion that bordered on obsession. Luca's most recent argument with you in class still rang in his head. The words exchanged, the raised voices, the sharp glances, the whole thing had left a bitter taste. It had been over a trivial matter, some insignificant comment you had made which had rubbed him the wrong way, yet it had escalated into a full-blown shouting match. Luca had been seething with anger, his whole body tense as he'd argued with you. The whole time, all he could think about was how much he disliked you. Luca's gaze fixated on you, raking over your pirate costume with a critical eye. For a moment, he had to admit that you looked good in it, but he wasn't about to give you that satisfaction. No, instead he let out a scoff, a sound of derision. Pathetic costume, he muttered under his breath, the words slipping out before he could stop them. It's just a lame excuse to show off some skin, he added quietly, his annoyance palpable. Luca's eyes scanned the crowd, and he noticed something strange. Several students seemed, well, a bit off. Their movements were a bit unsteady, their words slurred, their eyes glazed over, they appeared drunk. He furrowed his brows, a sense of realization and then annoyance filling him. It seemed someone had spiked the punch, and everyone was already starting to get a little too carefree and uninhibited for his liking. Luca was just about to make his way over to the punch table to see if his suspicion was correct, when suddenly you approached him, completely oblivious to the fact that it was him you were about to talk to. Luca's eyes flicked towards you as you came up to him, and he had to suppress the usual scowl that threatened to appear on his face. He had been so focused on the spiked punch situation that he was somewhat surprised by your sudden appearance, his body tensing slightly. Luca immediately noticed a change in your usual demeanor. You seemed more energetic, your eyes a bit more dilated than usual. It was clear that whatever you had consumed had altered your state of mind in some way. Luca's suspicion heightened even more. He had a strong feeling he knew what was going on, and the sight of you, all excitable and carefree, only confirmed his suspicion of someone having spiked the punch. Luca's first instinct was to scoff at your unexpected offer. Dance? With you? As if. The thought alone was ludicrous, but he managed to suppress his usual response, not wanting to give away his identity just yet. So instead, he gave you a disapproving look, his arms crossing over his chest in a clear rejection of your offer. Luca's eye twitched at your compliment, a mixture of irritation and surprise coursing through him. Cute? He'd been called many things in his life, but never cute, especially not by you. As you tried to pull him towards the dance floor, he resisted at first, his jaw clenching in annoyance, but he ultimately let you, his steps reluctantly following yours towards the dancing crowd. Luca's heart gave an unexpected jolt as your hand gently touched his own, the feeling sending a strange and unwelcome flutter through his chest. He tried to ignore it, to play it cool, but the physical contact was too distracting. He allowed you to pull him onto the dance floor, his eyes darting around the room, his brain trying to focus on something, anything, besides the way his body was reacting to your touch. Luca stood there, rooted to the spot, his eyes fixated on you as you started dancing. His brain was a whirlwind of conflicting thoughts and emotions. The sight of you, moving and swaying to the music, should have annoyed him, but for some reason, it didn't. Instead, it captivated him. He mentally cursed himself, knowing he should look away, knowing he should be scowling and looking anywhere but at you. But he couldn't tear his gaze away. His heart was already racing in his chest, beating rapidly against his ribcage. Luca's irritation spiked at your question, his usual scowl returning. Of course, he knew how to dance. He wasn't some sort of clumsy idiot, but the fact that you were asking him that question, that you were pulling him in like this, it was driving him crazy. He let out a huff before giving in, his hands coming to rest on your waist as he pulled you against him, moving with you to the rhythm. As he held you against him, his body moved in tune with yours, each step and sway effortless and fluid. His grip on your waist was firm, yet not too tight, guiding you across the dance floor in sync. Despite his irritation, there was a subtle hint of enjoyment in his eyes. The feel of you in his arms, the way you moved together, it was not as bad as he had expected. Luca's breath hitched slightly as your arms encircled his neck, causing a shiver to run down his spine. He tried to keep his composure, to hide the strange, fluttering feeling that your actions had triggered within him, but it was getting increasingly difficult. His hands tightened a fraction on your waist, pulling you a bit closer, his mind a tangle of conflicting thoughts and sensations. Luca's hands followed your lead, his palms resting more solidly on your waist now. He could feel the heat radiating from your body, the smoothness of your skin under his fingertips, and it was sending his pulse racing. A part of him wanted to pull away, to maintain his usual cool demeanor, but another part, a deeper part, was relishing in this closeness, the way your bodies moved together, the way you were guiding his hands. Luca's body tensed as your voice dipped to that sultry whisper, the sound sending a shiver down his spine. He had to bite back the gasp that wanted to escape, struggling to keep his composure. You were so close, your breath hot on his ear, your body pressed against his in a way that was both maddening and delicious. He didn't respond, his hands on your waist clutching a little tighter. his face neutral despite the maelstrom of sensations that were coursing through him. The moment you started grinding against him, Luca's breathing hitched, his body immediately reacting to your movement against him. His hands jerked on your hips, fingers digging into your flesh as he tried to maintain control over himself. He could feel the friction from your body on his, the heat building between you, and it was sending all coherent thought out the window. His heart was racing as he fought back the urge to press you even closer to his body and claim your lips. As Luca danced with you, lost in the sensations and the rhythm, there were moments where he almost forgot where he was and who he was dancing with. Time seemed to blur. His focus narrowed solely on the feel of your body against his, the way your movements flowed together. It was as if nothing else existed in those moments but the two of you and the music, his usual hostility and prejudices fading away, replaced by a primal instinct, an undeniable attraction. As your lips touched his neck, Luca's control snapped. All the restraint, the cool demeanor, the carefully constructed walls he had built around himself, they crumbled in an instant. A low, guttural moan escaped his throat as your mouth glided across his skin. His hands gripped your hips, pulling you flush against him, his body reacting on pure, animalistic instinct. He found himself kissing your jawline, his lips trailing to your ear, his breath ragged and needy. The dance floor was now enveloped in a thick, hazy smoke, obscuring everyone's vision. But Luca couldn't have cared less about that, or about anyone watching. In that moment, all he could focus on was you, the way your body felt against his, the taste of your skin, the heat that was rapidly building between you two. His hands roamed over your form, pulling you impossibly closer, as he buried his face against your neck, breathing in your scent, completely consumed by desire and need. Luca's voice was gravelly and rough, barely above a low whisper as he leaned in, his lips close to your ear. The words escaped him before he could stop them, spoken in a reverent tone. "You're such a good dancer." He almost sounded dazed, like he couldn't believe the effect you were having on him. His hands were still on your hips, holding you close, his body taut with tension and arousal. The abrupt stop in movements surprised Luca, and your words jolted him out of the haze of desire that had enveloped him. His eyes widened as you said his name, realization slamming into him like a ton of bricks. He swallowed thickly, his brain struggling to catch up. How the hell did you figure it out? He should have known he wouldn't be able to keep his identity hidden for long around you. Luca's hand reached out instinctively as you ran off, an impulsive need to keep you close flaring up within him. But before he could react, you were already sprinting away from him, disappearing into the dancing crowd. His mind raced as he stood there, bewildered and frustrated. Now what the hell was he supposed to do? Of course, this was just perfect. Not only had he allowed himself to momentarily lose control around you, but now you knew it was him, which probably only made you despise him more. He gritted his teeth, his mind already bracing for the inevitable aftermath. This was shaping up to be an absolute disaster.